No.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, there we go.
Can you hear us?
Business.
Wes, text me if you can hear us.
It doesn't know.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Can you go back to it? It's a little extra crazy. We see the mic moving, so I think we can.
I think we're good. Good to go.
We're going to check.
Do I need to yell at the mic?
You shouldn't need to yell at the mic.
Hello. Can you hear us?
Yes.
You can hear us.
Why is rats?
No, that's us.
It's on delay.
Yeah. That's me. You're talking to yourself now.
Good, good, good.
Hear my voice?
Okay.
Definitely not going.
All right, cool. Hey, so folks down at Loyola and everyone else who's watching remotely, I apologize. We're having issues with the video feed. Thank you to the Loyola Entrepreneurship Club members who showed up to watch this, and hopefully next time you can get student activities to approve a beer budget because we're drinking beer right now. So I want to thank everyone for getting together with this. Many of you have been to Loyola Venture Community Meeting for people who've been here in person. Folks on campus, this is kind of new to you. You've heard about this, but you're perhaps unfamiliar with what it is. So started Loyola Venture Community a little bit over a year ago now, which is crazy when I think about it. And the goal was to take people that were interested in tech and entrepreneurship and give them an outlet to get together and form some community and ultimately connect people to resources, right? So if you needed someone to help you with some design work or some HTML, or you needed connections to, you name it, the goal is that you reach out to this community and the community can help you. We've had some successes over that time, and we've grown the group pretty well. We're pretty happy with it. So once a month we have events where we get together in person, and now also simulcast down there, and we've simulcast on YouTube before. And we have someone come in and speak about something related to startup and tech. This month I was lucky enough that Zeb Dropkin, sitting to my left here, was able to come down. I'm not going to give you Zeb's full background, but Zeb is, I've known him for almost 2 years now, which is pretty crazy as well. And he's the founder of a company called RentHackr. I'll let him tell you all about RentHackr. And he's had a pretty crazy experience in the startup world that's led him from New York to Chile to New York and back. So he's been everywhere, and he's had a lot of great experiences building a product that is especially helpful if you ever want to rent an apartment in New York City. Speaking from firsthand experience, I've rented 4 times. It's been absolutely miserable. And I think that this is an incredibly exciting product. So without further ado, Zeb, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Hey, everybody here. I met half of you or more than half of you. Sorry, I didn't meet. Everybody, Loyola, I don't know how many guys you are there, but feel free to pipe in with questions at any point or chat them in. I'm going to run you through just kind of the background of the product real fast and my background on where we came from, how we got here. So RentHackr was born in my own frustration of not being able to see what's available in New York when my renewal came under my door, and it was like they wanted me to pay $300 more a month. I was like, I don't think this is fair. And I ended up going to Craigslist to find out, and I knew I was in like the death zone of data. Like I was just getting the worst look at what was actually happening. So we went out to find the data in bulk and couldn't find it anywhere. So we ended up asking, would people give this information? Kind of sharing economy, collaborative consumption style. So we said, if we could get people to tell us how much they're paying, we could do a bunch of other cool things by crowdsourcing the data. So we validated an MVP really early. We got a few thousand signups in a few months, just saying, give your information to see other people's information.
Can you define MVP real quick?
So for us, the MVP, the minimum viable product, we said, a big challenge we got from other entrepreneurs and investors that we were thinking of at the time, really early, didn't really know what we were doing, but still we're having conversations, going to startup weekends and stuff like that. And we said, if we can get people to give their information, like why would people give their information? What's the incentive? People aren't going to give it. So the MVP was to validate would people give their information? And what we found was overwhelmingly, yes. Like the hurdle wasn't getting people to give it. The hurdle was delivering value to bring people back and to figure out how to make a business out of it. So what we do when we get data now, along the way, we figured out, hey, we're asking people how much they rent, what their address is. What other things can we get from renters that would actually make our marketplace have like a leg up on the traditional marketplace? Not only data transparency, but when you ask renters about their apartments, you can find out things like if they're moving or not. And with that, we forecast availability. We can find out if they rent there again. And we use that as a filter where you can go look at apartments by and say, I only want to see people where they would rent again. What do they wish they knew about their apartment? So if somebody wants to rant or really praise, like we give them 140 characters to do that. And we just use a bunch of those little levers to make a better marketplace for rentals. And room search, which is mostly in New York right now. It's all Craigslist, and it's for undergrads and recent grads. Most people come into New York looking for a room. So we always had room search. We always had room available as a registration. I'm going to walk you through registration now, but we didn't have it available for search until recently, and that's really picking up. And we've kind of started to focus the product on room search for the short term. Landlords and agents have signed up. We have over 100 signups of interested agents and landlords who want to be part of the program, but we haven't built that side of the marketplace yet, and it's a big endeavor, not technologically, but labor-wise. Like it's a lot of relationship building and kind of sales, and it would take our eye off the ball of what we're doing now. So it's planned for next year. So I'm a new user. I just came and said, hey, I want to connect. This is our first page of registration right now. I can see you have one other friend on here, which is your brother, I guess. Yeah, so automatically we show you like if you have any friends on RentHackr to the right there. We let you get in a couple ways now. We found out in the evolution of RentHackr was we used to just say, hey, you have to give your apartment if you want to get in. That's it. And we had a lot of people leave, but we had about 50-60% of people who actually connected with Facebook and went on to give their apartment information. So it wasn't very encouraging numbers, but still it was a big fork in the road. It's not optimal for bringing people on board and letting them test it out. So now you can tweet and just for sharing it on social media, we let you in. We let you in a little bit of a limited fashion. I'll explain that, but we let you in. So you can confirm your email if you have a new email address. So if you were in a room, we ask you for room rent and apartment rent, and we show that. So you can search for a room in a 2-bedroom available in June in the East Village for a price range. And you should get results, and then you can contact that renter. So I'm going to say I'm renting I should have you do this, actually.
Yeah.
What are you renting?
Yeah, let's do a 1-bedroom.
Okay. I pay how much a month?
Like $10. It's cheap as possible. Like it's $2,000.
No, this is actually okay. So this is a big this is a mental check. So when you come on to RentHackr, you're actually giving your information to get access. It's almost like you're paying with your data. So you're not necessarily listing your apartment. You could say you're not moving, but you are adding your apartment to the marketplace so that everyone else can make better decisions and kind of use that data. Okay. So this is your current situation.
Okay. $1,750.
It's still a 1-bedroom.
It's studio actually now. I'm trying to upgrade
$10. Cardboard box.
Yeah.
Is that an option?
Okay. Address.
Current one?
Yeah.
169 East 92nd Street.
Yep.
There you go. E1.
So we never share names or unit numbers, but we keep them in the system so that we can track kind of like renewal rates and what happens to apartments over time. We only use that anonymously. So your lease end date?
End of December 31st.
Honestly, it's actually good for you.
Yeah, that's great.
And
I'm meaning to do this.
Are you definitely moving? Move you find a better place?
Definitely moving.
All right, so when someone chooses definitely moving, we forecast that it's going to be available. The other things here are kind of for customer segmentation otherwise. And you can search by this stuff too on the map when you're seeking. Something we're about to add is availability. So if you're definitely moving, but you know your apartment's not available, you'll be able to say that soon too. Then you get to
data that you collect when you log in with Facebook that you use.
what data do we get?
Yeah.
We get gender, email, first and last name, and your friends. That's it. We have access to your friend list, so we can see who your friends are
Do you
through
do
the
anything
API.
with it in the product at all?
What's that?
Do you do anything with it in the product at all?
Yeah, we let you search by your friends if you want.
Okay, just fine. Do you ask for your birthday?
We just know that you're of age, like that you're an adult.
I was just thinking about demographics.
I think they might share age breakdowns with us, but we don't get exact age. I don't think we don't ask for birthday. I think we'd have to explicitly ask for it. We get
I know you have to ask for it.
we get the API general profile stuff. We don't have any custom stuff in there right now. We kind of try to make that not be a hurdle, but if we have a compelling reason to go get stuff, we would. We're asking for so much data after the fact that we kind of feel like we shouldn't be asking people to risk it.
I
on
just
Facebook.
click. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, no.
I used to read it.
All right, so you have a bathroom, you have an elevator in your building,
No.
laundry.
No.
Oh, really?
None of that.
Doorman, balcony.
No, not unless you count fire escape.
It's like dogs and cats allowed.
I don't know.
It's like homeless people.
Like, how's the lighting in your place?
50% of the people in this building smoke pot, so.
Yeah.
It's a crap.
Lighting is great.
Really?
Yeah, lighting
All
on
right,
my
so
is actually great.
A lot of people get off.
Okay,
on
do
this.
good. Do good. It's,
Partly clouded.
All right. And do you have a view?
View is terrible. Poor. Yep. What's the next one up? Fair. I'll do fair. Yep. So looks like it. It actually is that exactly how it looks. Yeah.
All right. Would you rent there again?
If I had to, that's not an option. No.
You rented there twice.
And
I did do it twice.
so wish I knew is a little bit of secret sauce for us, but it's like a micro review. Some people leave behind. A lot of people leave great stuff. Some people just put whatever they want in there to get through this. So the kind of fallback there is like, what do you think about your water pressure? Do you have thin walls? Do you hear people? Like, what are the things you would want to leave? You wish you'd know if you went back to rent the same apartment. If you came to visit yourself and was like, should I rent this place? What would you say?
Already that you don't. I mean, it's a 5-story walk up, but you kind of figure that out when you get there. So that's kind of shitty. Yeah, water pressure is poor, I guess.
Like Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's
floor.
water pressure.
It
Floor
smells
is
like,
pretty
smells like pot everywhere.
Is the neighborhood? Anything about the neighborhood or transportation or anything like that?
It's good.
Location's
It's
great.
okay. Yeah, location's actually good in between a local and an express stop. That's good. If you want to say that. It's good. Yeah.
You can put photos up right now. We have low traction on photos. We don't require it. We're going to start incentivizing people to do it in the future. The people who do put up photos right now put up really good photos, surprisingly. But my current stance is people are coming to RentHackr to find their next place, not list their place like Airbnb style, and making money off of it. So we don't want to hinder them by requiring like photos because you don't have an empty apartment. You're not an agent. Like you're doing that.
And how are you going to incentivize people to add photos?
I will share that.
Okay.
But wish I knew is mandatory.
Yes.
Okay.
If you leave something there.
Yeah.
You can say I'm a douche. I don't want to say anything. And you can say, well, floor, blah, blah, blah. So this optional down here. So we drop you on a map. We're right around where you live. All these apartments here are current apartments from other renters. You can jump into any of these. You get a Google Street View image of the building. This is the most embarrassing and rudimentary part of our app right now is the building and apartment view. We're going to basically break that down into one view in the future. But right now, we show you what a building is, and the idea here is that the building data over time will have things like, hey, 1 bedrooms are renewing for this much, 2 bedrooms are renewing for this much. You can compare it to other buildings. You can track and favorite buildings, so you can find out more about them. You can share this link. Any of the links you share, anybody else can see. We just made it so you can actually, anybody with a link can go onto the RentHackr map and actually start interacting, which we didn't used to be able to do without registration, but we prompt you to register after a certain amount of actions. This is an experiment here too. We're about to start hiding this by default. but we take Instagram photos from as close as we can get to the building. So these are actually photos that people post on Instagram within 10, 20, 40 meters. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes it's so on point. It's like the rooftop with the people who live there. You can see his families or kids, and you can see what's going on. Sometimes it's the bars down the street, and that still tells you something about like the community and what you're looking for. Sometimes it's some of the pictures they uploaded from Paris, and it doesn't make any sense at all, and that really drives people crazy, and they complain when they do that. So we're gonna make this an option. It was really an experiment. We got some good feedback on it. People love it. People hate it, but when it is valuable.
Go down.
See that?
That's great.
So that's
where
good.
you live.
That's good to know, right? So this place we're looking at right here happens to be a $800 room and a $3,200 4-bedroom.
Great views.
Pets not allowed.
Yeah.
It sucks for this person, they said. You can see some of the other amenities. This guy's elevator, doorman, and laundry. It's a pretty big step up from your place, actually.
Live in a rented room.
So you can share any of this stuff. If I favorite this, I'm basically subscribing to this building. If any new data gets added or updated in that building, I'll get a ping on email to tell me about it. So you automatically subscribe to your own building. So when your neighbors add data or update their data, you see how much your neighbors are paying and how much things are going. Again, we share how much the apartment costs. Like a 2-bedroom costs this much now, not that Tim pays this much now.
When you're talking to landlords and as you're doing business development to get them on to hopefully roll that product out, how do they feel about that?
So we're not focused on landlords right now, but in general, the other side of the marketplace is if they're already pro like technology, they're kind of pro RentHackr, and if they're moded kind of business sense and they know how they make their money, they don't want to be disrupted, then they're kind of anti. For landlords, our data is coming from the renters themselves, and we usually know about someone moving out before the landlord does. So they're kind of like taken aback by that at first, but then they look at like how that can help them be more efficient too. So a lot of bigger property management companies and stuff like that already have like referral bonuses and stuff like that built in. So it's basically a tenant I could contact this tenant and say, I want to find out more about this place. Can I come see it? And who's the landlord? And da 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 da. That in the future, we'd like to be able to say something like, rent this now for up to a 5% increase in rent, which wouldn't apply to a room. In this case, it's a room, so I'd be contacting, it's either the person moving out or the person who wants to fill the room. That's one of the reasons we're focusing on rooms right now is because the transaction loop is pretty much closed on rooms. And we didn't plan that, it just kind of evolved that way. And now we're like, let's get users into rooms and scale that back out to apartments as we get the other side of the marketplace on apartments. For apartments, what we'd like to have is another button here. Instead of putting me in touch with the renter, it's going to say, put me in touch with the landlord, property manager, or agent as far as the food chains we can get you, and because you want to talk about the place. Right now, renters looking for apartments are a little bit dropped off too early, so they have a lot of work to do, and say the other tenant has to basically tell them this is how to get the place. And a lot of people do. We look at the messages, and people are very helpful. But if you get bothered too many times, you're not going to be that helpful. So we have to make tools to make it easier for people. And so inquiries become what is scarce and what we use for incentives. So what we're rolling out soon is, right now we have 10 inquiries a week. Soon you'll have just a few inquiries for putting your information in. If you don't put any information, you don't currently rent, you can subscribe. You can buy your way on. If you don't have any inquiries left, but you haven't put up photos yet, we'll say, hey, go put up some photos. We'll give you some inquiries. If you have inbound inquiries to you and you haven't responded to them, we'll say, hey, respond to your inquiries and we'll give you more inquiries. So the first thing we're going to test is around scarcity of inquiries and having like a system where people basically do actions that are good for the platform and good for the marketplace, or pay us if they want to be a power user using it. But you can get by without it. You can use everything without it. You can put your data in without paying, and you can browse everything always. It's just when you want to take an action.
Hey, Zeb, question from Ryan Healy. How do you get the Instagram photos with locations near each building?
We use the Instagram API. We actually met with the Instagram guys in New York. There's just a handful of them here. But the head of API platform is actually here. And they have an actually pretty rudimentary API. They're working on it now. We just kind of hacked it together. You can do it by distance. So we just made our own rules and we wrote our own code to say, check if you get something in 10 meters, and show that. If you don't have anything in 10 meters, go to 20. If you don't have anything in 20, go to 50. And we only go to like 100 or so. So you can find places that don't have photos, but you can also like go to Saigon and click on a RentHackr apartment and see photos right away from Instagram. So it's pretty amazing, the coverage in general.
So for just out of curiosity, is that for people who are explicitly naming their locations, or are you taking GPS data that is just tied into the metadata of each photo?
If it's not in Instagram, we can't read it. So it's got to be volunteered location data to Instagram.
Okay. So however it works on Instagram is backend. So it might be just coded into it wherever you submit it, but it also, it's definitely if someone's explicitly saying, I don't know, maybe it's not.
I think Instagram has
It's probably where it's being, if you're getting pictures from Paris, then it's not what people are saying they are. It's where people are uploading it to Instagram. Right?
If you tag a picture from Paris while you're in America, then it's tagged at that spot, right?
Well, it's tagged to Paris. It's not
exactly.
But there's probably metadata tag that says
It was
uploaded at current GPS location.
yeah.
I'm guessing
Yeah, it says add to map in Instagram, or you can check into places. So I think either of those are location based. You turn on.
Yep.
Right now, our filters run the gamut. Just like what kind of room what kind of apartment do you want to look for? We're trying to figure out a better way to kind of put rooms across. This is rooms and shared apartments. We want to kind of push this, so we put it up the top bar there. And so if you want to go for you look for a room and a 2 or 3 bedroom that costs less than $1,400. That's going to be available in December. Or somebody would rent again. Let's see what we get here. I got one result in this little area. Here's a $1,400 room. We got a $3,000 2-bedroom. That walk up is hard.
Used to that.
Poor light, but good view. This is in my neighborhood that I want to see. This might be something I want. So as far as the numbers go, like we are kind of light on inventory, especially because seasonality is a little low right now. But we're getting better all the time. So we're only good in New York right now, but we're open everywhere. We're in over 20 countries and over 200 cities with a few apartments. But as soon as those go stale, we take them off the map. So you only see the ones that are current and that you can use right now. We work well on a website. We work pretty well on tablet. We're kind of an excuse on the iPhone. You can kind of start registration and that's it right now. So a big push for us later on is to become, more mobile friendly and to be able to do a lot of this on mobile.
You said you charge subscriptions now?
We don't yet. We're about to
You're
start
about to start.
testing that. Yeah.
Have you had a revenue model yet, or?
Yeah, that's going to be the main revenue model. That's going to be we're testing off of renters first, just because we don't have landlords and those people on yet, really. But we want to charge on both sides of the marketplace only if we can deliver, value that renters are happy to pay for. So if you're finding that you pay RentHackr $10 a month and you're getting looks at better apartments that are going to be available in 4 months that no one else is showing you, and you can get your move taken care of 2 months ahead of time, get the whole thing done. And we think you pay $20 or $40, for that time period, or even going for the year if you want to keep like your finger on the pulse of that building on the park that never seems to open up. But you can find out someone planning to move out in 6 months and you're leased up in 4 months. And you go, I'm going to go month to month for 2 months and go for this place and live in that building I always wanted to live in. So it's like trying to take out the rat race of that 4-week crunch that people go through now and being subject to the whim of when you happen to have rented the year before, and bringing the time horizon out, letting you look forward in time and work with other renters to connect with and find better places. So we're going to look at subscriptions on the renter side that could fail, could definitely fail. It hasn't been proven yet, so we want to show that there is a pie there to be made. Right now, it's all on the other side.
Would you end up limiting when the subscription period kind of be limited to like 1 to 3 months?
For modeling purposes, we kept it pretty simple instead of just $10 a month. But we're assuming people stay on for only like 3 months in general. But Street Easy had $10 a month too, and they had a lot of people who stayed on for the whole year. So it just depends on what people want. It's not that expensive. Sometimes people stay on longer. We could just charge $40 for the year, and give discounts. The pricing is definitely TBD. But the idea is monthly recurring because that's very easy to model, and it's where we want to test first. Really, we think we can learn the most fastest to get to a pricing model that works for renters, or invalidate that renters are a good place to get revenue.
When did you launch?
This site launched in April, May, and the room search and a lot of the other stuff didn't come out until, and a lot of those like advanced filters here. Didn't come out until August.
Yeah, I was just curious to see like if you had people who rented last year, went off, and then came back.
Yes, we do have a lot of people that came back so far. I don't have the exact numbers
Oh,
for
so
you.
you've been on. Okay, it's been more.
The
than a year.
MVP was, well, everybody was always, even on the MVP, people were registering with their Facebook. So we had their email, we sent them an update and said, hey, RentHackr's new. And if it's a year later, or 9 months later, and they want to like check out pricing again or something, or they get an email from RentHackr that says, hey, there's a one bedroom in your building that costs this much. And like, hey, it's $200 less than mine. What's going on? I want to go on RentHackr and check it out.
So 2 questions that someone emailed me before we got together tonight. Joe O'Connor couldn't make it this evening, but his first question was, what's your plan to expand into other cities?
So we're looking at New York City and Boston right now. We're really focused on high density urban markets that are price sensitive with a lot of like undergrads and recent grads. So it's really a marketing push for us. We don't, unlike traditional brokerages and rent and like listing services, like they have to go make these relationships before they can do it, before they can launch somewhere. We kind of have to do that in the landlord side, but we don't have to do that on the data side to bring people in. So like in the past, we were US only. And we found that when we did find bad data, like it's hard to find bad data right now, but it's not because we police it any better. It's just because we made it easier for people to provide their own data. But like people in Toronto or London would want to check out New York, and it would break for them, so they'd make up an address. They'd even write in the Wish I Knew, like, this is fake, I just want to get on. Where were we?
Expand to other locations.
So
basically, where
we are in all these other places. So we're letting the crowd kind of just get up and start us where we're going to follow traction there. But we're going to do concerted marketing efforts around university populations to start, and around cities like New York, Boston, LA, San Francisco, the usual suspects like Chicago.
Right. So Joe's second question, I think we touched on a little bit. What kind of alerts are you able to set up beyond? So building alerts right now, you can subscribe to see what's going on in a specific building. But beyond that, can you set up something for neighborhood, city size, rent range, amenities, whatever? No,
but that's totally roadmapped. We're really looking forward to doing that. We want to make messaging and alerts a lot more robust, and that's a big task for us to take on. So right now, you basically have to go granular and choose the buildings that you want to follow.
Sure.
And they have to be on RentHackr because a renter put them on there. We do have a lot of buildings, so it's not such a bad thing right now, but in New York anyway. But it is. I actually pop on the screen and say, hey, you might not find that many apartments in your area. We're sparse in your area right now, but check out New York if you want to see how RentHackr works in a place where we have like a lot of users in apartments. If you registered in Santa Fe, you'd get that message right now. If you register anywhere outside of New York, you get that message right now. But we do want to have people be able to say, what are my criteria, and ping me based on my criteria. I mean, it's kind of like we want the apartments to come find you eventually. So there's another car site where you say what kind of car you're looking for and like the model year and stuff, and it starts sending you when used cars come on the platform that match your criteria, like algorithmically, but also is what you volunteered. It's kind of, we want to be able to push the right apartments to you throughout the year that are going to be what you're in your sweet spot for when you're looking. So when you build up enough things that you follow and we help you do that, we think we're going to be able to basically like 4 months before you move, we're going to be like, hey, your lease is up, but here's places that are going to be available in 4 months. Here's what's going on in the buildings you follow. Here's what's going on in your friend network. And we'll reveal all that information to you to make it easier for you. I wanted to go in as me real fast so you can see the friends. So the blue markers are my friends that have active apartments right now. And one really easy way to see that is just say, only show me my friends. So none of my friends are moving out for the most part. But we think this eventually with scale can be really useful in that, if you're moving to a new town or even a new neighborhood and you don't know what the price range should be, like knowing you have friends there will eventually let people opt in to sharing their name and their profile pic with their friends if they want to. So you'll be able to see, hey, I want to move to this new city. I'm moving from London. I didn't know I had friends in Greenpoint. How much do places cost in Greenpoint? You'll be like, oh, I'll go to this building, and a one bedroom is 2,400. Like now I have like some kind of range of what I think is right, especially if I see a cluster of friends, and I can kind of suss that out. And I could contact them and figure out how we're related right now. Later, you're going to contact them knowing who they are.
Another question from Loyola. So the website, did you develop it yourself? Did you do all the design and coding? Did you outsource it? MVP versus this, probably, I'm guessing.
So
maybe different source.
So my journey was really kind of a slog. I was a solo founder. I found some early people to help me make the MVP, a friend and a good friend of his. That totally flamed out pretty fast. So I got skittish after that about like bringing on like a partner to give a lot of ownership to. I came out of that owning everything, but it was frightening, and I had to involve like legal help. Then I got into Startup Chile based on not much more on our MVP, and I think at that point we had just launched that description video on the homepage, which we're actually still growing into that video. So we have this cute animation, 90 seconds, and people kind of get it, and that helped us a lot. So I think making a video that kind of gets your value proposition across or has a good sell is a good thing to do earlier, even if you don't have the features yet. Went down to Startup Chile, hired a designer friend of mine. She came down for a while and helped mock everything up. And then had development still just in progress when I came back. And I thought I could get it out the door just bootstrapping the rest of the way. And I just ran into a wall. Developer couldn't get it done at the time they thought they'd get it done. Just wasn't happening. And I went in to raise money kicking and screaming. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to raise money until I had things out the door and had traction, and it just became necessity. And I just leveled up and started meeting with angel investors and other people in having more serious conversations because my back was to the wall, and eventually started finding people who believed in me enough and in the quality of what we had gotten done so far to start writing checks to get us to the next stage.
Cool. All right, Zeb, is there anything else that you want to cover? We're basically at the end of this piece.
No, I think I talked too much. I'm sorry. I'm good for questions or anything else.
Yeah, any last questions from people here down in Baltimore or elsewhere?
I guess it was kind of my fault. I think I cut you off when you started to get into the kind of secondary revenue stream from the landlord broker side of it. I mean, just from an outsider, it seems like that could be a pretty good success path for, I don't know, kind of they would pay you a commission for kind of giving them a long lead.
So the model that we're working with to test on the leasing, I call them leasing agents as an umbrella for landlords, operators, and agents. I mean, in New York, agents have a much higher role than they do in other cities for the most part. On that side, we look at the same thing. Like if they want to list their places, we would make them. By the way, I expect to see some Baltimore dots on here. What the hell's going on?
Second best dorms in the country. That's
You
what's going on.
You can put your dorm in there if you're paying for it.
Probably not.
So the idea there is they would pay the list, but listing we found out and researching it is pretty much commoditized. So that would just be the same thing, like $1 an apartment, like $10 minimum kind of a month. And then where we monetize there is marketing packages. Like you get sponsored results. You get some top results up here, some highlights on the map. It would be something you can see is clearly like not a renter. So it would have a different color. It would say professional on or not, and you'd be able to turn them on or off. But they would be, agent or landlord made listings, and they'd be on there, and those guys would pay to promote those things.
Yeah.
And they would also kind of pay to, if you're a property management company or you're an agent or a landlord and you have units in this building, and people are saying they're interested in this unit, and it's not even available yet, you still want those leads. Like those are good leads for you. So we want you to basically the same thing you would do to say I'm paying $1 to list. You're going to pay $1. You're going to buy a bucket. Like I'll pay, $50 a year for 100 of these, or whatever it is. We'll figure out the pricing. So they just claim all the apartments or claim buildings to be the contact of record, and we'll just make sure that they can actually fulfill in that building. Like, do they really do work in that building or not? On the back end at first, and then that other button would be for them to be the contact and get that information. So we'd be a lead generation source for the agents and property managers.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking because, like, I mean, if you had a renter as a renter, you probably, like you said, you weren't running models for like a 3-month subscription. I mean, if I'm a broker and I can set up a profile and have a year-long or several-year-long subscription where, you know, as a renter, you can maybe select the broker you use, rate them, whatever. I don't know, and then you would pop up and it would say, hey, this person used this broker at the apartment next door. Would you like to contact them, get in touch? And, you know, then you have, I don't know. I mean, I've known about
Those are all good ideas. Like,
Yeah.
we definitely want to start making that information. We're getting information from renters and making it like more widely available. Like, every time a renter says, "This is the landlord. This is how I got my place," in a message, like, there's no reason we can't let them share that or make that be data that's unlockable on the platform, like, for every user. So yeah, I think we do want to get to that point where people can share that information in a more systematic way. And make it more transparent for everybody, like how people got in and how to move around those places.
Yeah, so like what happens? Like, my apartment is now like listed on here as I'm moving out. Like, are people gonna be like reaching out to me and be like, "Yo, I'm ready to move in," or like,
Yeah.
what's the deal? Like,
Someone-
what happens now, kind of thing?
Someone will hit the Put Me in Touch button. They'll send you an email. It'll be like an anonymous Craigslist style email.
Yeah,
So you
but
can
I mean,
either
like,
stay
I'm not-
anonymous or
I'm not like renting it out though. It's like I rented it from somebody else. You know what I mean?
right. See, they would, they're going to ask you about the apartment, and you can say, "Hey,
Reach
I don't know what
reach
they're
out
going to do
to
about the
so-and-so.
apartment, but this is how I got it," or you can be more or less helpful depending on how you feel and who they are. Like, we want to make it so it's less work and easier for you to be more helpful in the future. So all this stuff, like, you answer stuff once, and we'll just be able to put it in a template and like let you do it. And messaging might not have to go through email at all. And on the mobile side, we're looking at kind of getting out there to bring utility in like one focused way. So, for instance, just being able to subscribe to buildings. Like, we won't try to be like another Zillow or a Street Easy like app out of the box and build everything out robustly with a map and a million filters. We'll try to do something very different. Just say, hey, if I visit Tim's building and I like it, and I want to have a chance to get into this building, I'm just going to follow it somewhere so I get updates on it. And you're going to do it on RentHackr. So you're just going to look up the thing, subscribe to it, and that's all you do on the mobile app for the first. So we'll go in stages and try to get there. But yeah, the use case is helping you find other places and being helpful to others as you're exiting. We might be able to incentivize. Depending on how monetization goes, we might be able to incentivize you on your exit to do better. We can say, if you respond to like 4 or 5 people, or that somebody rates you as helpful in responding, we'll give you like a $20 Amazon gift card or whatever. Like, we try to make it better or figure out what works for you. Like, maybe get you a deal on your next place because that agent or landlord works with us.
Right.
Okay, cool. So, guys, I want to say, Zeb, thank you very much for really appreciate it. So I've got to follow this story for a period of time, and this is a great improvement since when I first saw it. And the thing that always excited me was anytime I had to move, it was Craigslist, short period of time, shitty information everywhere. And with this, it's okay, well, it's not necessarily a short period of time. And Zeb is the only one that I can think of who's actually trying to change the way that information is being compiled, gathered. So crowdsourcing it rather than scraping it from various sites, or working directly with someone that I think is, I just don't enjoy people that are in the rental business on the agent side. So anyway, you can bypass them is good by me too. So this is the point in time where we do this thing we call resource allocation. And the basic idea and why we brought this group together, as I mentioned earlier, was we wanted to connect people with resources to help them with their project, with their career, with their whatever. And it's a very simple thing. It goes around the table and everyone says something that they need and something that they can offer to the group. You can also talk about a project you're working on, something like that, just to give people some context. So if there's anything that you'd like to add, feel free to add. So, I'll start. We'll go around. If people have anything that they want to bring to the table, great. So Tim Flannery, founded Loyal Venture Community, do a bunch of different stuff, trying to raise some money for a small venture capital fund, and also doing consulting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One big thing that I'm doing right now is building another community called Startup Rock Climbing, which is kind of a strange thing, but I rock climbed a ton at Loyola. started getting into it back up here, realized that there's a ton of people in the startup community who also rock climb. So we have events every week. Most of it's just community building. Once a month, we bring in speakers. So my give actually is a discount to this group. And we have a huge event that's going to be on December 14th. So that's a Sunday night. We're having live music, free beer. The president of Brooklyn Brewery is going to be coming in to talk about how he founded it, and that's basically the story of the revitalization of Brooklyn. And then there's going to be games and food trucks and everything like that as well. So I'm going to shoot out a promo code if anyone wants to join us. Happy to have you. We also have an event on the 25th this month as well. We have the original developer of Behance. So he was the first developer they hired, and now he's leading their tech team since they've been acquired by Adobe. So Behance is essentially networking for designers. So that's my give. Asks, right now I work with a consulting startup, and I've talked to some folks here about this before, but essentially the gentleman I work with, John, he has a solution to help HR and talent professionals measure when people are changing from passive candidates who are not really looking at jobs to active candidates when they're actively looking, so that you can track down exactly when's the right time to connect with someone. So if anyone has any leads on that, happy to chat.
James McCauley, class of 2011. I work for BBDO advertising agency as my day job, and I also co-founder of Videomaker, which my brother across the table here. It's a video editing platform, so I guess what I can give is video editing stuff for money. And also, we're kind of new to the startup game, but we can kind of sort of give any advice sort of on early startups and stuff like that. I'm happy to chat with people about that. What I'm looking for, I'd love a different day job. So I work in IT finance sort of for BDO, but I'd like to sort of get into some more like account management type role for either like creative agency or something like that, do more creative stuff than the boring Excel sheets. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Tommy Kelly, class of 2009. I am a mechanical engineer full-time. I also founded a beverage company called Sotera. It's a carbonated tea that I brought, if you haven't had it. I know we sponsored startup rock climbing one week, I guess last month. So I've been coming for a while, and we're now in about 60 stores, about 30 in Manhattan. We just got into our first few Whole Foods in Fairfield, Darien, Westport, and so I guess my ask, just looking for brand ambassadors, people that want to drink the product, share it. I would love to give you free product for your office. Wouldn't want anyone to buy it up front. We just got into the WeWorks, Field Collective, Brand Yourself, a couple of startups in the city, and they really seems to be a good workplace fit. Caffeine, no calories. So let me know if you guys get drinks provided by your employer. Drop off some free cases. What I can offer is just, if you have ideas, creative mind, more really in the consumer goods. That's where I have experience, obviously starting a company from the ground up. I have no background in it. So just figuring out distribution, slotting fees, just all the nuances of that industry. Really anything I can do to help supply chain wise. I have a lot of connections there now. So that's about it.
Cool. Joe Walsh, class 2011. I'm a tech recruiter here in New York, so focused on infrastructure and systems engineering, which is pretty specific, but my whole firm does IT in general. So my give would be if anyone's looking for a job or has advice that they would need in the career space in terms of like IT or startups. New York, happy to help as much as I can. I do occasionally sales and like business analysis, so I can help in that front. And always like connected with people that I've worked with in some capacity. And then my ask would be if you know anyone that's hiring or any startups that are growing pretty rapidly, I'd be happy to help them find people as well. So
Cool. Connor Phillips, class of 2013. What I can offer, basically work here and do analytics, SEM. On the side, do some web development. So anything, any type of consulting, any help with SEM analytics, I'm more than willing to help. As well as I know I gave you guys a kind of quote. If you need any kind of quotes for any type of development, I have the resources within Resolute where we can give you kind of an idea of what the industry or agencies are kind of offering for that type of work for your project. Not much of an ask. Tim forgot to mention, I guess I don't know if you're going to mention it. Yeah, we'll save it. Well, I guess the only other ask, actually, I really don't even have one. I'm still working away on my mobile app, which some of you saw with kind of like the social planning app. We finally became an LLC, so we're looking to finally launch to the Apple Store and hopefully get approved first time around. Probably won't happen. I know it's always an issue. Everyone always says, but hopefully second time around we'll get in there. Try it out.
My name's Tyler Foley, class of 13 also. This is my first time here, so wasn't expecting this, but so I don't really have any asks. What I can give, I guess, what I do for my day job is I run a financial planning practice in Midtown Manhattan. We focus on individual financial planning as well as group benefits for startup companies trying to attract talent. Obviously, that's going to be something growing up. Everybody wants to have benefits, something going for them in their new job. We work a lot with that, as well as just regular financial planning for the future. No asks other than pleasure to meet you guys.
Good karma.
Hi, Brett Federo, class of 08. I'm a software and technology analyst, financial analyst, focused on the software side. So that's where my realm of expertise is, whether it relates to business models or technology or strategy or where the world's going. Always happy to talk about that or share information, industry data, anything you guys need. Also, what's my ask? I'm intrigued now if anyone knows anything about Hadoop and the evolution of that and how it relates to relational databases. So if anyone has any in the weeds technical, I would love to understand that. Yeah.
Really what I'm looking for right now.
So I'm trying to understand what the weeds mean. So that's my ask.
I'm Matt McCauley, class of 08. Day job, I work at Accenture in management consulting. Today I actually just referred a recent Loyola grad who had a stellar resume, so hopefully that referral bonus comes. But anyway, if anyone's looking for jobs, Accenture right now is especially for new grads or upcoming grads. This is when they're hiring for next year as analysts. So anyone down in Baltimore or looking for a career change, happy to get you into the consulting game or at least try. Other project is Video Maker. So we're startup launched a little under a year ago, but really trying to get some traction right now. We've got some really talented editors and looking to create video for startups, communities, your kid's birthday, whatever it is. So we got all kinds of lots of potential demand out there. We're looking to just connect it now. So yeah, that's what we need, and that's what I can give.
Dylan O'Shea, class of 2008. I'm at Merrill Lynch in our private bank. My business partner is a former DoubleClick executive that then went to Google, left Google, and now we run a private banking practice. One thing I'm working on right now is working with Google employees, some other employees that have RSUs, stock options, helping them plan this year and years following. So that's sort of just an idea of one thing that we can give. And and to get, just love coming to these events, through Tim to learn more about this, what's going on in this world. So, thanks.
Zeb?
Okay. Zeb Dropkin, founder of RentHackr. I can help you guys if you want to know anything about applying to Startup Chile, which is 6 months in Santiago, Chile, for no equity and about 40K, depending on the exchange. I can help you with co-working spaces in New York. I've been to a lot of them, and I'm a WeWork co-worker right now, so if you're thinking about getting a desk or moving to New York. And if you have any questions about the real estate space in general, or about finding a place, I can't act as an agent, actually help you find a specific place, but market questions or just about New York and neighborhoods and stuff, I'm happy to help lend a hand.
Okay, cool. And one of the asks down from Loyola was, is RentHackr hiring campus reps?
Yeah, so we want to get in. We're trying to figure out which schools to focus on. I mean, right now we're doing Boston and New York, but honestly, as an internship kind of thing or to try it out, we'd love to do it. So if you have interest, just ping me, Zeb at RentHackr, or go through Tim. And yeah, I would love to experiment and see how it works. So we'll figure out a little bit of compensation or what we can do, and then we'll figure out, set some goals and see if we can hit anything on the Loyola campus or maybe down in the area. We haven't tested these waters yet. We're going to do things as old school as doing flyers around NYU, and we do some Facebook targeting to specific year grads of people who are like the people who have used RentHackr. So specific stuff on there too. But yeah, love to figure out what we can do with ambassadors or kind of campus rep kind of people, and what we can do around helping people find better housing around universities.
Okay, cool. And did you have anything that you needed written?
I need signups and getting the word out. That's it.
Okay, guys. So before we part ways, I want to thank Connor for having us in the office. I want to thank Zeb for coming in again. I want to thank folks in Baltimore for listening, and everyone here for jumping in person. So 2 announcements. First announcement is that we're taking off December from Loyola Venture community meetings. Everyone's got a lot of stuff going on for holidays. The second announcement is a little bit bigger. So this is something that I've helped try to grow for the past year or so. And Jen couldn't make it this evening, but Jen was also a big part of this, especially over the last 8 or 9 months. We felt that we've had some very positive growth, but we felt that maybe it made sense to see if there was someone who could take what we've built and try to build a larger, greater organization out of it. So beginning in January, the group is going to be organized and run by one Connor Phillips. So Connor, welcome on board.
Yeah, obviously you can tell that I'm already doing a good job. We have a better space, meetings.
No webcam.
No webcam. Yeah, but yeah, so I mean, that was going to be one of my asks, just help with kind of recruiting a little bit more. I'm kind of reaching out to more of the kind of LinkedIn social media channels. If you've noticed, try to, like or follow us on the various kind of platforms. I'm also building out a new website for the group. So we will have the upcoming events hosted there, as well as links to prior YouTube videos. One of the other things I do want to do is start building out maybe a job platform for any alumni who want to post for free, just job listings. And then also one of the kind of things that Tim had started was kind of like a Hacker News Reddit style, just discussion board. I want to kind of just incorporate that a little bit more, just to keep the conversations going beyond just here. I think that's what's going to help us kind of grow and get this into a larger community. But definitely any help recruiting, any speakers you have in mind would definitely help. But let's keep the ball rolling and hopefully grow this into something bigger.
All right, perfect.
Tim's doing a great job, though. Can't throw that in there.
Yeah, thanks. So thanks again to everyone for being a part of this tonight, Zeb. That was great. Loved walking through the platform. And
Thanks for having me.
we'll talk to everyone soon. All right.
Awesome.
Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Woo! Should I kill it?
Kill it.
You want
College
some?
kids
Yeah,
are
I
always
want.
messed up with cocaine and hookers.
Yeah.
Still recording.